사운드 너무 큰데? 아, 이거 자막이 맛집이라고? 우와. 우와. 꼬치를 들고
A lot of this isn't going to make sense.
잠깐만요. 자막이 안 나와. 아니, 자막 키는 거 있지 않나 따로? 원래 또?
It's to you. And I'm sorry about that. I'm just gonna start at the beginning. With the house.
오케이. 책에 있는 자막이군. 야, 그 뒤로 난 아대의 악몽이 답이라는 거 알게 돼. 배가 나온 거야? 여성이야? 임신한 거야? 배가 나왔는데?
I lived here until I was 11, but I wasn't allowed inside half the rooms.
소리 괜찮아요? 게임 사운드 괜찮나요? 여러분들?
I hadn't been back since my brother Lewis's funeral.
와, 이거 자막이 되게 센스 있다. 아, 이렇게 나오는 거구나. 아니, 이 게임 용량이 근데
In her will, my mother left me a key, but didn't tell me what it unlocked. Maybe she thought I'd know. Or she thought that the mystery would be enough to bring me back.
아니, 좀 소리 최대로 키우신 거예요? 이거 오디오 너무 키우면 또 많이 클 텐데. 아, Shift를 누르면 여기 확대가 되고 달리기는 못하고. 아니, 이 게임 용량이 한 2기가밖에 안 되던데 이게 이런 그래픽이 구현이
I haven't
돼?
driven this way in a long time, but I saw a few hoofprints.
진짜 대박이다. 저는 2D 게임인 줄 알았어요.
The truth is, even after I inherited the house, I never thought I'd come back to it. But now I had questions about my family that only the house knew the answers to.
야,
The house was exactly like I remembered it, the way I'd been dreaming about it.
어렸을 때 기억밖에 없는 거구나. 이제 유산 상속에 대한 그런 것 때문에.
As a child, the house made me uncomfortable in a way I couldn't put into words. Now, as a 17-year-old, I knew exactly what those words were. I was afraid of the house. I hoped the key might unlock the front door. It didn't.
어떻게 하는 거지? 잠깐만. 하고 마우스 위로 드는 건가? 아,
Looking in, I felt like the house itself had been waiting for me.
오호. 아, 이런 건 못 읽고. 아, 어디 지하실 열쇠나 또 그런 열쇠겠네요. 정문 열쇠가 아니고. 이게 달리지를 못하네 일단. 임신해갖고. 아 여긴가? 아 그냥 들어가네? 뭐야?
Crawling through the doggy door used to be a lot easier when I was 11.
아니 17살 때 17살에 임신이 아니라 아닌가? 야 근데 진짜
The power had been turned off the night we left. For the first time in years, I felt like I was home.
역시 3D 움직이는 거는 좀 눈이 어지러울 수 있어.
But instead of a family, there were just memories of one.
추억만 남아있습니다.
Like how after Louis started working at the cannery, we all got sick of eating salmon. Except our cat, Molly.
아니요 공포 게임 아니에요. 추리 게임이래요. 와
Nothing in the house looked abnormal. There was just too much of it. Like a smile with too many teeth.
와
Great Grandpa Sven built a music box for Barbara, along with the rest of the house. Mom always told me to stay out of the basement, so I wasn't too surprised when the key didn't fit.
이 열쇠가 어느 상자 같은 거에 대한 열쇠일 수도 있겠다. 집이 되게 좋아 진짜.
Even the fireplace had a story. Edie told me the bricks came from the original house after it sank.
야 이거 어떻게 이렇게 최적화를 이렇게 잘했을까?
The table was still a wreck from the night we left. My mom was the only one of us who could imagine Great Grandma Edie living in a nursing home. It was like a bomb had gone off, killing everyone but sparing the furniture.
다 확인했었지. 뭐야?
Edie told me once that every Finch who ever lived is buried somewhere in the library.
문 여네. 아 이거 뭐 막아놨구나 이걸로. 씩 하고 붙여놨구나.
A lot of things got left behind in the whirlwind of that last night. My mom wasn't much of an optimist, but she never stopped believing that my brother Milton was alive. After Milton disappeared, Mom sealed up all the bedrooms. Then Edie retaliated and drilled peepholes.
들여다보는 구멍을 뚫었다고. 아, 침실을 다 이렇게 잠가버린 거구나. 구멍을 이렇게 뚫어버리고.
As a kid, I just assumed every house had peepholes and sealed rooms you weren't allowed inside of.
모든 집이 이렇게 생긴 줄 알았다는 거구나.
My Grandpa Sam spent 7 years sharing a room with his dead brother, Calvin.
아, 처음 이야기할 때도 좀 집중해서 들었어야 돼. 아까 좀. 에디?
The last time I was in Edith Sr.'s room, I was 10 and she was painting my portrait. Whenever people ask me about my family, the first thing they always want to know about is Barbara.
바바라 핀치. 야, 이거요? 이게 관계는 뭐 지금? 지금 이게 현재인 건가, 그러면?
Barbara was a child star for 2 years, until America grew out of it. Mom must have locked the third floor stairs on the night we left.
아, 봤던 데지.
I spent a lot of time playing in Great Uncle Walter's room.
아, 여방에서.
I think my mom sometimes regretted not sealing it up. Lewis told me there were secret passages, but I never believed him.
아, 설마 이 열쇠야? 오, 이제 시작이네.
Turns out, my mom was really good at keeping secrets.
우와, 대박이다. 책이 아니라 문이야.
Now it was time to find out what my mom had been afraid of. From the paintings on the wall, it was clear my brother Milton had been here before me. Reading this, maybe it sounds like I had a plan. But I had no idea what was behind that door.
와.
Just like I had no idea where all this was gonna lead. I grew up looking at Molly's room through the peephole.
아, 몰리. 아, 여기가 비밀 그거구나.
Being inside for the first time, I felt like I'd stepped behind a painting. I got the sense Edie had spent a lot of time here, before my mom sealed the doors.
몰리 핀치.
December 13th, 1947. Dear Diary, I'll be gone soon, but I wanted to tell somebody about what's gonna happen. It started when Mom sent me to bed without dinner. I woke up and I was starving, so I looked around for something to eat.
와.
The gerbil food was dry, but I didn't mind it.
와. 이걸 먹었어? 뭐야? 설마?
I thought about eating Christopher, but I held back.
저녁을 안 줘가지고 배고파가지고 지금 그 먹이를 먹은 거잖아. 문 잠그고
My Halloween candy was all gone.
안 잠긴 건가? 봐봐.
Mom, can I come out now?
Sweetheart, it's late. Go to sleep.
늦었어. 잠자. 얼마나 배고파서 당근을 먹어.
I kept eating and eating.
뭐야? 치약을 먹었어?
I ate a lot of things that night.
아예 민초파네. 와, 뭐야? 이것도 먹을 수 있는 거야? 이게 모양이 아니고 진짜야 이게? 세상에.
Then I heard chirping outside my window.
너 설마
It was
새를
a barn swallow going back to her nest. I reached out for her.
아 설마 이게 나가나?
And suddenly,
뭐야?
I was a cat.
뭐야? 고양이가 됐다고?
I tried to be quiet, but the bird was really scared. I jumped and I almost got her. I could tell she was getting really tired. Now I was up in the big tree. I promised Dad I wouldn't climb it anymore. All I cared about was eating that mama bird. I gobbled her up.
어?
And suddenly, I was an owl. First, all I heard was the wind. Then I heard little teeth nibbling
뭐 조종하는
the
거야?
grass.
어디로 가야 돼? 갑자기 올빼미가 되네.
Rabbits.
토끼. 야차!
I imagined his face looking up and seeing mine through my talons. I swallowed him up, and I didn't chew one bit. Then I flew off to find something bigger.
세상에. 이게 뭐지? 상상인가? 진짜 그건가?
A mama rabbit.
엄마 토끼래 세상에. 엄마 토끼야.
She was almost too big to carry. I started choking, but I couldn't stop eating. And suddenly, I was a shark.
어? 뭐야 이거?
I rolled off the cliff and into the ocean.
오!
Now, I was hungrier than ever.
뭐야? 야!
I
맛있는
wanted
물고기다.
fat, juicy seals.
물개야 저게?
I tore off her flipper, and it tasted really good.
세상에. 어딨어? 이리 와.
Grabbed on tight. But I was so hungry, I jumped out of the water. When I opened my eyes, everything had changed.
뭐야? 뱀이야? 문어인가? 아 문어인가 보다 이거. 뱀이 아니라. 뭐지? 이게 뭐지 이거는?
Now I was a monster, and I smelled people everywhere.
아 괴물이 됐대. 사람들의 냄새를 맡았대. 아니
I
사람
was big, but I moved real quiet. I wanted to stop, but also I didn't. Passenger, I was still hungry. And across the water, I smelled something new. Something I had to have, so I swam towards it.
뭐야? 우와 뭐야? 오,
I slithered onto the sand, and the good smell went into an old pipe.
야 일기장이. 와 변기에서 이런 외계 생명체 나면 소름 돋겠는데?
I got closer and closer.
자기 방이네. 애들을 굶기면 안 돼요, 여러분들. 성장기 때. 안 보여, 안 보여. 너무 어두워. 아, 저기 밑에 뭐 있다.
All my stomach started growling. And suddenly, I was me again. I held my breath for a long time, but I couldn't hear anything. I think it's waiting for me to fall asleep. But it's not going to wait much longer. It needs to feed, and we both know I will be delicious.
몰래 핀치.
I'm not sure if I believed all of that, but I'm sure Edie would have.
뭐 아이의 상상력일 수도 있죠.
This will be obvious later, but my mom never told me any of these stories. Edie would have, but Mom didn't like bringing up the past. Though, when we adopted a stray kitten, she was the one who named it Molly.
어? 길 잃은 고양이?
I spent a lot of time in Great-Grandma Edie's room.
에디 증조할머니의 방에 많은 시간을 보냈다. 아, 저를 왼쪽으로 하라고요? 오케이. 확인. 여기 가자. 그 다음에, 채팅도 살짝 이렇게 해놓을게요, 여러분들. 이렇게. 깔끔하게 보이게.
Her room was like a museum.
진짜 꾸며놓은 거 봐. 되게 정돈이 안 돼. 되게 복잡하면서 정돈돼 있어.
For 500 years, the Finches have been famous throughout Norway for their fortune and misfortune.
가문에 대해서 나오네.
Odin Finch buries the latest victims of the family curse, his wife Ingeborg and their newborn son, Johan.
아, 오딘 피지 가문의 저주로 가장 최근에 준 피자를 묻었다고?
On January 7th, 1937, he set sail with his family and his house, hoping to leave the curse behind.
세상에 저주를 피하기 위해 집을 바다로 떠났대.
But 40-foot waves off the coast of Washington send the house and Odin to the bottom of the sea. Odin's daughter Edie, with husband Sven and baby Molly, step ashore on their new home, Orcas Island.
아, 그래서 에디가 아기 몰리는
Odin Finch is the first to be buried in the new family cemetery. His daughter Edie is already dreaming of a new Finch house.
그게 이 집인가? 아, 그런가 보다.
Whatever's wrong with this family, it goes back a long ways.
아까 내가 여기서 여기 봤던 건가? 맞네. 창문으로 들어온 거네, 잠근 거를.
Even in her 90s, sometimes Edie seemed a lot younger than my mother.
에디는 90세가 넘어서도 나의 어머니보다 젊어 보였대. 아, 여기 에디. 이게 그 아까 그 저주받은 그 오딘 그 딸이구나, 이 에디라는 분이.
The only trace Grandpa Sam's first wife Kay left on the house was the pink bathroom. It was a pretty big trace.
여기도 똑같은 열쇠인가? 아, 모든 자물쇠 열쇠구나, 이게.
There's a secret in this bathroom.
이 욕실엔 비밀이 있대.
It's in the last place you would look. It isn't in the cupboard. It's hidden in this book.
오. 와. 진짜.
Sven gave Sam an old camera he'd refurbished. He never put it down.
아, 카메라를 스펜이라는 애가 이제 사진 많이 찍었구나. 야, 이거 VR이면 진짜 재밌겠네요. 이거 VR 버전도 되는 게임인가, 그럼 혹시? 야, 이거 통통하면 여기 이 집 관찰도 못하겠네. 아, 이게 17년도 게임이에요? 아, 근데 이렇게 잘 만들었어? 와. 야, 집 진짜 겁나 이쁘다, 집.
I knew Grandpa Sam had a twin, and that he never talked about him. I guess my grandpa didn't like history any more than my mom did.
How I Want to Remember My Brother by Sam Finch. The thing I remember is that when he made up his mind, that was it.
와, 편지를 읽으면서 이거 영상 나오는 거 대박이지 않음?
My brother said he'd die before he ate another mushroom. And he did. At Barbara's funeral, we swore we'd never be afraid again. And he wasn't. I think Calvin always wanted to fly.
Sam! Calvin! Dinner's ready!
Coming! But that day, he finally made up his mind to do it.
아, 날고 싶었는데
I
진짜
told him
나나
going
보다.
around was impossible. Maybe if I hadn't said that,
Calvin! I'm not gonna tell you again!
maybe if the wind hadn't picked up, then maybe he'd still be here. But I doubt it. I think he'd already made up his mind. That's what I want to remember about my brother.
아. 오!
The day he made up his mind to fly, and he did.
Calvin's story felt strangely familiar. When I was younger, I remember trying to do the exact same thing.
진짜 날아버렸네. 됐어? 그럼 저쪽 가면 뭐 있나?
After the funeral, Edie roped off Calvin's half of the room.
아, 형이 그렇게 그네 타다가 날라가 죽어가지고 여기를 밧줄로 막은 거야. 여기를.
Mom said Grandpa Sam enlisted at 18 and never set foot in the room again.
뭐야? 아니 무슨 집이 이렇게 특별하냐 나? 어이? 세상에.
The passages were a pretty tight fit. They'd obviously been built for smaller hands and bellies.
여기도 있고 여기도 있네. 잠깐만.
Growing up, I always thought of Barbara as a child star.
아, 아까 바바라가 있었어. 그리고 아까 바바라 장례식 얘기를 했었거든요. 그럼 얘 바바라는 어떻게 된 거지?
Of all the stories people wrote about Barbara's death, I'm surprised Edie saved this one.
Old Jack here with another ghastly tale inspired by America's most unfortunate family. I'm calling it
핀치 놀라운
The
탈락.
Surprise Ending of Barbara Finch. As a child star, Barbara was famous for her scream. Now at 16, she was all washed up. A has-been. But in a lucky break, she'd been asked to perform her signature scream at a local convention for monster movie fans. It was just the boost her career needed. Unfortunately, her scream hadn't aged well.
헐.
Getting better. I think you just need the right motivation.
Her biggest fan and current boyfriend, Rick, was about to demonstrate when...
Now that was a great scream.
It was Barbara's father, Sven. He'd slipped into a table saw and had to be rushed to the emergency room. So Barbara got stuck babysitting her youngest brother, Walter.
Oh.
Her convention comeback was cancelled.
Okay, I'm hearing frustration, but I'm not hearing terror. What if I tried...
A gang of hoodlums in Halloween masks have been terrorizing Orcas Island tonight. Police are urging residents to...
뭐야?
That came from the basement.
You're right! Also, I loved your delivery on that. Why is your basement door locked?
Because my dad likes making puzzles and secret passages. There's a key hidden in the music box. The secret is to keep winding and winding until finally the key pops out.
Thanks, babe. I'll be back in a sec.
20 minutes later, Rick hadn't returned. So Barbara went to look for him, right on cue. She reached for the music box. And as she wound the key, she listened for Rick, but the house was silent. She found Rick's crutch and imagined the worst.
The gang's leader is the infamous Hookman killer, Dr. Carl Hamill, who impaled and then ate his family 10 years ago tonight.
뭐야? 헐. 아 설마?
The old fridge rattled and grew still.
Oh dear!
아 장난친 거구나.
Barb, relax. I was just trying to scare you to help you find your scream.
Well, I'm not scared, Rick. I'm furious.
Then act furious. All I'm getting from you now is that you're hurt and confused and you're...
She threw him out, but she kept a little something to remember him by.
Barb, have you seen my other crutch?
And she was still holding it when she fell asleep watching the late picture show. Hours later...
Barbara! Walter, what's going on up there? Ah! Okay, I'm coming up, but if this is a trick, you're dead, Walter.
뭐야?
Walter, are you there? Walter had vanished, but his bedside radio was still on.
Orcas Island police describe the man as 6 feet tall, with a steel hook for a hand. Residents are urged to lock all doors and windows and notify the police of any suspicious activity.
뭐야?
Barbara turned, saw the hook man, and was speechless. He was quite smashing.
이 자식아.
And he was. He couldn't get enough of Barbara.
Okay, Barbara, there's gotta be another way out of here.
That night, she played her part beautifully. She thought about abandoning Walter, but just couldn't do it.
어디로 가야지?
Molly's door hadn't been opened in years. The hinges groaned. He wasn't moving, but she sensed the story might not be over yet.
내려가니까 사라져 있는 거 아니야? 역시.
The hookman had vanished. She listened for his breathing, but all she heard was...
뭐야?
Someone at the door was dying to speak to young Barbara. At the door, she heard whispering. It was coming from inside the house.
Oh dear.
The monsters had come to surprise her. For Barbara, it was a dream come true. Then she saw what kind of monsters they were, and she realized what was about to happen.
아 진짜 괴물들이라는 거야?
She was going to be famous. And with her final breath, Barbara Finch gave the performance of her life.
뭐야?
I wasn't there myself, but I hear Barbara was magnificent. Poor girl. She had a taste for stardom. But unfortunately, so did her fans.
뭐야 이거?
Of course, the police blamed it all on poor Rick, who disappeared the same night. And little Walter, hiding under his bed the whole time. He took it all pretty hard, but
Wow.
that's another story. As for Barbara, tucked inside the music box is all they ever found of her.
바바라 일부?
Her ear.
에이!
Now that's what I call a real eerie tale.
Edie told me all Barbara wanted was to be remembered, as absurd as that comic was. Maybe what Edie saw was a happy ending.
세상에. 그죠? 살해당.
I guess now I know why Mom didn't like me playing with the music box. Edie's father, Odin, built the original house.
어두워졌어. 아까 그 오르골을 찾아야 되는 거 아니야, 다시? 여기 있다. 계속 돌리면 열쇠가 된다고?
Mom said the basement was off limits, unless I wanted another tetanus shot.
너무 어둡죠? 이거 좀 밝기 좀 올릴게요. 왜냐면 저는 잘 보이는데 여러분들한테 안 보일 거야 아마. 그거 잘 안 보이네.
I saw Edie sneak down to the basement once, carrying packages. I thought maybe she was hiding presents.
아, 누나.
It turned out she was hiding a lot more than that.
와, 뭐야? 방이 있네? 뭐야?
I remember asking Mom once about where Walter had gone. She said after Barbara died, he got as far away as he could.
와.
If there's a pattern in all these stories,
진짜 집
I think
대박이다.
it's that none of us has gotten very far.
월터.
Goodbye, everyone. I can't believe I've been down here for 30 years. On that first day, after the shaking started, I didn't think I'd survive a week. But after a few days, I settled into a routine. That's what kept me sane. Having a schedule, living for today. I always expected to be dead tomorrow. But if you wait long enough, you get used to anything.
얘가 뭐 이거 갇힌 거야?
Even a monster on the other side of the door.
아,
starts to feel
문
warm,
반대편에 괴물이 있어.
almost friendly. And then one day, everything just
그러니까 누나가 죽고 틀어박혀. 여기서 30년 동안 있었어?
whatever that thing was, it was gone. Maybe it got tired of waiting. Or maybe I just got tired of being afraid.
와, 복숭아만 먹고 살았네.
It's been a week now, the longest in 30 years. I'm done waiting. I have to leave while I still can.
와, 집 봐봐 진짜. 한도 끝도 없어.
I know it's out there, somewhere. Whatever killed Barbara and Molly.
바바라를 죽인 그것, 그리고 몰리,
And Calvin.
그리고 켈빈. 뭐야?
Maybe this is all a mistake. But I need to stop living the same day, even if it kills me. Whatever's out there, I want you to know I'm ready for it. I'm going to appreciate all of it, especially the food.
아, 30년 동안 복숭아만 먹었어.
I don't mind if I only have a year left. Or a month. Or a single week. I'd be happy with one more day. I can already imagine the sun on my face.
기차를 몰랐나 보다, 진짜.
Walter died when I was 6. I can't believe my mom never told me he was down
그러니까
here.
월터 6살 죽은 게 아니었던 거네. 36에 죽은 거네. 와, 세상에. 아, 36에 죽은 게 아닌가? 아니네? 6살에 죽었다고 했는데 2005년이네 저거.
I'm sure my mom was trying to protect me.
엄마가 숨긴. 자, 한번 가보자. 아이. 아, 아이씨.
Maybe she was afraid I'd end up like Walter. But if she never told me about an uncle under the house, I can only imagine what else she was hiding. I don't want to make the same mistakes she made.
와. 뭔 일이 있긴 제대로
Trying to
있었네.
bury something that's still alive. Now that there's only one of us left, or maybe two, I thought it was time I heard the stories for myself and found out what happened to everyone else. But now I'm worried the stories themselves might be the problem. Maybe we believed so much in a family curse, we made it real.
어허.
I don't know if I should even be writing this. Maybe it'd be better if all this just died with me. But I thought you should know about your family.
아까
And the
거기야.
history you're a part of.
아까 몰리? 그 변해가지고? 뭐야 이거? 이상한 문어.
Though to be honest, I feel as lost as you probably do right now. I think the people in these stories believed them, for what that's worth. you look at the house, that history of imagination and stubbornness and madness, any of it seems possible. I think we've been surrounded by death for so long, we've just gotten used to it. What kind of family finishes building a cemetery before starting the house?
어.
It's embarrassing for me to admit this, but the
세상.
pet cemetery made me more uncomfortable than the human one. 3 of
애완
the gerbils were mine.
애완동물 묘지야.
2 had been my fault. Sven built the house, but it was Edie who designed the cemetery. I'm sure Odin's monument had been Edie's idea. My mom was always trying to move on, but for Edie, the past never went away. She could see it poking out of the water at low tide.
어제 뭐 빛나는 게 있네 저기. 다시.
Edie said she dreamed about the old house every night.
어? 그 저주 때문에 바다로 나간 그 집이네.
Edie's side was always easier for me to understand. But the older I get, the more I can see where my mom was coming from. Her dad had been pretty strict, but it wasn't enough to save her brothers. She was just trying to do better. She lost 2 of her brothers, just like I did. I get why she tried so hard to protect us. We never found Milton's body, so my mom insisted we were putting up a monument, not a tombstone. There's so many things I wish I could ask my mom now. Part of me thinks this is what she wanted all along. For me to come back someday and find everything out for myself. But looking back on it now, if she told me there was going to be so much climbing, I never would have come when I was 22 weeks pregnant.
임신 22주. 뭐야? 아, 사다리 있구나, 이게.
I never met Grandpa Sam, but I think he and my mom had a lot in common. They were both pretty intense.
와우.
Dawn, I promise, you'll never forget this weekend.
Yes, sir.
These memories are gonna last a lifetime.
What? Am I gonna have to shoot anything?
It's a hunting trip, Dawn. Shooting is strongly encouraged.
Shouldn't we be leaving?
Just want to get a shot of you, Dawn, then we can take off. Perfect.
It's gonna rain the whole weekend, isn't it? I will never forget this weekend, Dad.
That's this. Okay, got it.
I'm gonna take some pictures, okay?
Just be careful. That camera's older than you are.
Aw. You're right, Dad. It's starting to clear up. Still freezing, though.
Definitely should not have drunk all that coffee.
Hold still while I take a picture of you.
I definitely won't be moving.
Are you done?
Hey!
That's a keeper.
Nothing quite like being outside. I'm just saying, I'm not always gonna be here, Dawn. You'll need to remember this stuff, if you want to survive.
I'll be fine, Dad.
You know who else thought he was gonna be fine?
Some guy who died.
Dawn, I'm being serious.
No,
너냐
Dad.
또?
You're always serious. Doesn't being out here make you want to chill out?
Well, to tell you the truth, I haven't been out here in 20 years. Dawn, don't you think you could find something more interesting to photograph? Last time I was with my brother Calvin. Man, that was a great trip. Your grandpa Sven taught us how to fish.
Dad!
Good eyes, Dawn. Before you take the shot, let me get a picture of you.
Dad, I...
Just breathe. Turn off your imagination. Focus on your target. Let me get behind you.
Do I have to do this?
Dawn, you don't have to do anything. But if you want to survive, you'll need to be strong. Now keep yourself squared up. Great shot, Dawn!
야. 울고 있어.
I'm proud of you, Dawn. Always remember that, okay?
Dad, it's twitching. I think
That's
it's
totally
some-
normal, Dawn. Just focus on the camera. Try not to think about...
Dad!
어!
Of all these stories, that's the one I wish most that my mom had told me.
와우. 야, 여기, 이 가문이 진짜 저주가 있나 보다. 참. 허허. 엄마가 돈인 거죠, 돈.
Sam spent his life shooting photos, but Mom said he got nervous being in front of the camera. I guess we're all afraid of something.
어?
After Sam died, my mom and Edie got
I tried to talk him out of it, but though he'd never met her, we don't need a stepmom were the words that I
now
remember.
pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride.
When the time for photos came, Dad ordered him to come here. But Gus declined and as a sign held up his middle finger. The wind picked up and panicked geese appeared and quickly went. But all the humans did that day was go inside the tent. The rain came down in buckets then, but no one seemed afraid that nature might destroy the tent our dad had crudely made.
와, 뭐 태풍이 부는 거야.
The thunder sounded much too close and full of angry power. But all my father said to this was, "Make the music louder." I wish that I could truly say I thought about you on that day. Out there on the beach alone, just you, the wind, the sea, and foam. But I didn't. Until we found you.
세상에. 얘는 태평으로 간 거야?
She never talked about him, but Mom told me once if I was a boy, they were going to name me Gus.
야, 진짜 이
My mom moved up to the loft after her brothers died. At the time, it was as far away as she could get.
아, 저 밑에 있지 않고 방을 일로 옮긴 거야? 형제들 다 죽고.
She spent a summer building houses in Calcutta, where she met my dad, Sanjay.
아빠인 산제인을 만났다. 아빠를 만났대. 과연. 뭐 없어? 아, 있다.
Religion was another thing my mom never talked about, but I think it helped her a lot after her dad died.
아이고. 아, 그때 아버지, 사슴 그때 아버지. 응. 어?
My mom moved to India a week after graduation and got a job teaching English. Louis was born a year later. When my dad died, I don't think Mom knew where else to go.
아빠도
I'm
어떻게
sure
죽었어?
Edie was happy to have her back. The house had to get a little bigger, but Edie was used to that. And for a while, things were good. Almost normal. But it didn't last. The beginning of the end was Milton's 10th birthday, when Edie gave him a castle.
와.
After Milton disappeared, the only thing he left behind was a room full of paintings.
우와. 밀턴. 마법의 붓.
Milton Finch in The Magic Paintbrush.
미쳤다 진짜. 그림 그린 걸 좋아했던 친구구나. 아, 저러고 이렇게 사라졌다라는 거야?
I was 4 when Milton disappeared.
밀턴이 사라질 때 난 4살이었대. 아, 실종. 이 성을 만들어주고 실종됐으니 얼마나 또 그거 할까. 와, 얘는 어떻게 된 걸까? 세상에.
Mom spent months searching for my brother. Then she sealed the doors.
아유. 이 문 뒤로 들어가서 사라졌다던데, 그림 표현에서는. 어디로 가는 걸까? 참.
Whatever Milton had found in the house, Mom didn't want it getting out.
아, 이거 못 가네. 와, 아직 더 올라갈 수 있어.
Mom definitely blamed Edie, but I think Lewis blamed himself. After he graduated, he just spent more and more time in his room, until Mom got him a job at the cannery. Everyone always told me to stay out of Lewis's room, except Lewis.
와, 배야?
Lewis's room smelled very, very familiar. That part of him lived on.
뭐 물담배야 이거?
Dear Mrs. Finch, as
Oh.
Lewis's psychiatrist, I can understand your desire for an explanation. As I see it, the trouble began in January, shortly after we convinced your son to seek treatment for substance abuse.
헐.
Newly sober, I believe Lewis first noticed the monotony of his daily life. He kept working at the cannery, but he withdrew part of himself. In our sessions, I saw the same behavior. His mind began to wander.
뭐야? 아, 내가 움직이는 거야. 와. 그러니까 일하면서 딴 생각하고 있는 걸
I
표현하는
asked him
거야.
to describe
와.
it. He said he started small.
이거 손도 제가 움직이는 거고 이거 둘 다 제가 움직이고 있는.
Imagining a labyrinth. He'd feel his way about. Then something moved. Bats. And toads. And things that have not names. He knew it was all in his head.
와,
But he took it very seriously. I had hoped he'd find himself. But he found something more. I worried about him then. Daydreaming at the cannery, I spoke with his boss. But he said Lewis had become a model employee. Methodical, tireless, focused. Like a whole new Lewis. So I let him go on. I even encouraged him. It seemed very promising at first. He told me he'd made a new friend. On the edge of a city he named Lewis Topia. He built the city up slowly, brick by brick. Then he made musicians. And songs for them to play. He talked about starting a band. And he was always humming something. Every day his imagination grew stronger.
루이스의 상상은 현실이 된다.
He no longer spoke at the cannery. But his chopping was as reliable as ever. Then one day it struck him that all the cheering crowds, even the stones under his feet, were all in his imagination. So he could do whatever he wished. He held an election for mayor. And he won. They begged him to stay, but his mind was already wandering. It became a game for him.
와, 미쳤다 이거. 자, 배 타고 나가볼까요?
He'd conquer a city, then immediately push on. New Louisville. St. Louis. He started drifting away from our reality. Minneapolis, until one day he forgot to go home from the cannery. Even as his mother pleaded with him, part of Lewis kept sailing on.
집으로 가야 되는 계속 이러고 있는 거지 지금.
In Lewisburg, he heard rumors of a
아름다운 왕자?
beautiful prince. The prince was on his own quest for
왕자가 찾아서 나선 거 빛나는 무지개.
radiant rainbows. He followed the sound of his
그는 그의 소리를 쫓아갔다. 전자 시타르.
electric sitar.
와.
His chase led him to a golden palace east of the sun and west of the moon. Even then, his logic remained sound.
우와.
He knew the world was all in his imagination.
이게 여러분 무한 단순 반복 일이 얼마나 위험한 건지를 보여주는.
In his own eyes, he'd become something greater than a king.
와.
For someone who'd never known success in the real world, I think it was overwhelming. And then it struck him that the real Lewis was not the one chopping salmon, but the one climbing the steps of a golden palace. My imagination is as real as my body, he told me. It was hard to argue with him.
와. 그리고 이제 나가는 거야. 어디로 가는 거야 지금 이제. 이 상상을 끝낸 루이스가.
He began to forget the world we know. I think it pained him to remember Lewis, the cannery worker.
아, 쟤가 루이스구나.
He began to despise the man with a royal contempt.
루이스? 루이스?
I still thought I could save him. Even after he said he was being crowned king over all the lands of wonder. The palace would be packed with his companions.
미치겠다. 야, 저 영화 보는 것 같다.
Including the wise Calico who'd insisted on advising him. Waiting, holding his crown. There was only one thing left to do. Bend down his head. I think you know. Mrs. Finch, your son was a kind man who will be missed by all of us who knew him.
진짜.
My brother was really cool. I wish you could have met him.
자, 정리해볼까요, 살짝? 거스는 태풍에 날아가 죽고, 켈빈은 그네 타다가 날아가 죽고, 바바라는 괴물한테 죽고, 루이스는 자기가 왕이 된다고 생각해서 그 생선 자르는 거에다가 목을 들이대고, 그레고리는 불쌍하게 전화 받다가 익사하고, 샘은 사슴의 뿔에 탁 떨어지고, 월터는 기차에 치여 죽었죠. 몰리가 뭐였지? 그냥 몰리는 뭐였더라 아까? 몰리는 뭐였더라 아까? 그냥 문어 괴물 되고 마지막에 끝났나? 허허. 아, 먹은 걸 잘못 먹어서. 그럴 수도 있겠다. 그리고 뭐야. 아니, 이게 되게 영화 애니메이션 같은 그런, 그러니까 되게 영화 같아. 그러니까 그 상상하는 그 사람의 그 망상을 표현하는 거를 너무 영화처럼, 내가 순간 그 상상하고 있는 느낌이었어. 되게 연출이, 이래서, 와.
He was so proud of being Indian. I think for him, it was a way to be something other than just a Finch. On the way back from Lewis's funeral, my mom told me to start packing.
근데 저 엄마의 저 심정이, 와, 진짜.
She waited until the day before we left to tell Edie.
작은 아들도 저렇게 실종되고 큰 아들도 저렇게 되고.
I'm not sure if she wanted to make it easier or harder. I wish we'd stayed. But I understand why we left.
아니, 집이 진짜 미쳤다. 진짜 이런 집에서 살고 싶다. 농담 안 하고. 안전만 하다면.
My mom ended up leaving everything behind.
그냥 다 남겨두고 떠나버렸어, 엄마가. 그냥 다 이게 정리 이런 거 다 여기다 놓고 가버렸구나, 그냥. 땅은 갖고
What
계시죠.
happened that night had been coming for a long time.
땅이 한정돼 있으니까 위로 계속 올라가는 겁니다, 지금. 가성비를 맞추기 위해서.
Maybe you should have come sooner. But it had to end one way or another.
와.
All that's left now was to tell you about that last night.
마지막이다, 이제. 에디스가.
That whole last day, Edie just watched us pack and didn't say a word. Until supper, when she raised her glass and said,
마지막이네.
To our final night together, and all our final nights apart.
Grandma, you know what I said about alcohol. Some of your medications are very
Edith,
specific.
I left a present for you in the hallway. Why don't you go open it? The grown-ups have to argue now.
I'm sorry, you're right. We're all leaving tomorrow. Let's just enjoy our last...
I'm not leaving.
Edith, you're excused.
선물을 준비했다고?
the power had been shut off that morning, but Edie always had plenty of candles. When my mom sealed the library, I don't think she knew about the other entrance. Or that Edie had a key to it.
That thing you're afraid of isn't going to end when you leave the house. Edith has a right to know these stories.
My children are dead because of your stories. I think it's best if Edith and I leave tonight. We'll have the nursing home send a van for you in the morning. Okay?
Dear Edith, there's so many stories I wish I could tell you, but there's only time for one. This is about what happened on the night you were born. That night, the tide went way, way out. It was the first and last time I ever saw the old house aground. There'd been an earthquake out in the middle of the ocean. They called it the lowest tide in 1,000 years. God, it smelled awful. You know, I've seen that house every day of my life. But I never thought I'd go back to it. When the fog rolled in, I lost my way. I got turned around. For a while, I wandered. I started seeing things. Things I'd forgotten had ever existed. But when I saw them, they felt like old friends. That night, a lot of things came back to me. Or maybe I came back to them. Things I can't explain, but that I need you to try and...
Edith, what are you doing in here?
뭐야?
It's mine. Edith! Mom, you're gonna rip it! Let go!
내놔요.
I kicked and screamed, but Mom dragged me to the car. I never saw Great Grandma Edie again.
에디, 할머니.
The next morning, the van came to pick her up, but she was already gone. After that, we moved around a lot. We both tried to make the best of it. A few years went by.
아, 사라진 거라고? 돌아가신 거?
My mom didn't like to talk about it, but she started getting sick a lot. The rest happened pretty quickly.
아이고, 엄마.
She got better for a while, and then she didn't. And then I was alone. The last Finch left alive. Until I found out about you. I'm still not sure what to tell you about all this. If we lived forever, maybe we'd have time to understand things. But as it is, I think the best we can do is try to open our eyes. And appreciate how strange and brief all of this is. This journal was supposed to be for you. But now I hope you'll never see it. I just want to meet you and tell you all these stories myself. But I guess if you're reading this now,
그런가 보다. 애가 지금 나오고 있는 걸
things
표현하고
didn't
있는.
work out that way. This is where your story begins. I'm sorry I won't be there to see it. It's a lot to ask, but I don't want you to be sad that I'm gone.
아, 처음 책이
I
이제
want
그
you to be
얘기구나.
amazed that any of us ever had a chance to be here at all. Good luck.
세상에. 와. 오. 야, 오, 되게, 와. 크리에이티브 디렉터. 오, 되게, 뭐야. 되게 표현하기 힘든 진한 감동이 있네. 와. 아니, 게임 연출이 어마무시한데? 실화는 아니죠. 그냥 이 게임, 여기 게임사가 만든 거예요? 인디게임이에요? 이 이후에 다른 후속작도 만든 게 있나? 와, 표현력이 장난이 아니다. 애니메이터 토마스. 이건 게임 만든 사람들 본인 어렸을 때 사진을 이제 걸어놓고 이렇게 하는 것 같아. 이 게임 연출에 맞게 마지막을 프로그램 디자인. 고마워 요한 도전과제. 야, 도전과제 달성을 자기 여기 해준 사람들한테 하는 그걸로 또 해놨네. 그거스. 그래. 너무 잘 만들었다 게임. 야, 근데 죽음을 되게 아름답게 표현했다. 잔인하지도 않고. 너무 슬프긴 하다. 근데 마지막 이제 에디스의 아들이 이제 이야기를 이어가는 그림 나올지. 저 괴물들한테 죽었다라는 거는 진짜 저거는 좀 귀밖에 안 남은 건 의문인 게 좀 있어가지고, 그죠? 참. 아니, 이 게임이 2기가라고? 세상에. 한 3기가 되겠는데, 에디스핀치의 유산에게 자식을 말하는 거구나. 그러네요. 마지막, 에디스핀치의 유산은 어떻게 보면 그 이야기지. 책. 번님이 1시간 걸린다고 했어도 루프물 게임도 같은 배급사예요. 아, 그래요? 아, 정말 너무 재밌었습니다. 이게 처음에는 뭔 이야기야 하면서 보다가 중간부터 딱 조각이 맞춰지면서 아, 이런 이야기구나. 한 편의 영화를 잘 봤습니다. 더 에디스핀치 팀 2012년부터 2017년까지 The End. 야, 재밌었습니다. 옵션을 이용할 수 있대. 이야기 다시 하기. 와. 재밌었다.